Hey everybody, my name is Vitaliy Danylyk and now I want to talk about my project called Detecting Items with the Biggest Visual Weight. This theme is closely related to design, so to explain the idea of this project we need to start with design. But it doesn't refer to design in general, it refers to UI design. So what is it? Well, you know that design is an appearance of something. For example, this picture, this is a representation of some program, some virtual school. So, or this, here we can see a menu, some cards, um, or that, that's design of the program. About money, here we can see how much money do we have, and or even the representation of the program in which I have made this project. So we can see that's all UI. As you could guess from the pictures, UI means user interface, and the people who developed UI design are called UI designers. And this, these people are further divided into UX designers and UI designers, and we already know what means UI, and UX means user experience. This is that people who make that we can easily find necessary information. They make using the product easy. So let's consider the difference in the example. Let's start with UI. These elements and many others are UI elements, and the UI is responsible for their experience. What this text looks like, or this graph looks like, or menu or button. They gradually come to this look. They choose the most beautiful elements. This was the first version of the button, and then the text has been replaced by the icon. We can see here, and then the color has changed and the shape has changed. So the button is used is used as it looks the best and is situated in style. The UI does a little different. It includes the same elements, and but it's not responsible for their style or how beautiful it is. The UX is generally responsible for comfort in use. For example, let's take this button again. There were several options to place this button. It could be on the left, but it's not very convenient as our eyes are not used to seeing buttons of such functionality on the left. And besides, it's an app on the smartphone that needs to be controlled with finger, so it would be more convenient to put this button in the middle, directly under the finger. So, and next they put the button in the middle, but it's too small. It would have attract attention, so it's better to enlarge it, like here. Here we come across the term that sounds in the name of the project, visual weight. In simple terms, visual weight is a kind of thing that determines how fast we can notice some object. You can control it by changing the object's color, size, or placement. So compared this and this, the visual weight here is greater because the size is larger, and this is this is reasonably this should be like this because it's an important functionality and the users has to find this button as soon as possible. So that's smart. So while UX is very important element of design, and to make good UX, you need the user to always be able to answer these three questions. Where am I? Where is the information I need? How do I get there? So a good example of a good UX is Google search engine, and going to the search page, your eye does not strain. Everything is clear immediately. So design guide does, and we see that we use Google, and then we see where to write the query, and it's clear that after typing the query you need to click some button. And so to summarize, for a successful project, I mean program with user interface, you have to draw good design according to UX, and this means that we don't need to give as much information to user as possible, and we need to anticipate what the user needs and provide this information by highlighting it. Here's another example. We are in the timer app, and person comes here to use a timer, and here everything is done well in this example. We highlight the timer itself, and as it's the goal, it's the main goal. But in the second example, everything is not so great. The name timer has been added, which takes a lot of people's attention, and it's not very good because the main goal is the timer. And there are many mistakes like this one in real projects, and that lead to loss of users. And actually getting good results according to UX is quite difficult, but it's realistic. Well, how to achieve it? This can be achieved in this way. First they draw the design, then launch it. That means people use it. After a while, statistics are collected. That's the reaction time, the time spent at different places of the interface, and other data. And according to this statistic, they make judgment in design. And it happens in a cycle. So, but the problem is that this process can take a long time. So in order to minimize losses and maximize success, you need to minimize the time of this process. So you can use services like Google Analytics. It can reduce the time of this process as it's easy to integrate into the project, and it can show all the necessary data, necessary information, such as the area where the most attention was, the time the user stayed here or there, and much more. But it still takes a long time because to get this data, a large number of people have to use the product sometime. By the way, to do this, the design should be converted into the code to people use it and to people touch it and see the information change, and this is another plus of some time. So the solution to this program is a program that will predict what areas will pay attention to people. But how exactly will it do it? This app will be able to do this since it will be based on a large amount of user data and statistics. So now let's talk about this app. So that's the idea. A picture is coming to the program, and the output we have the data that will be displayed on the picture itself. The data is the eye journey through design, the area attention information, the time to realize information. So we can see picture, and then we can see information on this picture. So to implement this, it would be wise to use neural networks. After training, the network will work quickly according to this training data. That's exactly what we need. It takes a lot of data to train the network. As such, data is very difficult to find. We can use this program, but make it possible to edit the results by the users. So we should make from this program with controllable results. So that means that users will create the data themselves. Here is a program with controlled results. This app will consist of database of pictures on which people will pass. Here is people. People see the picture and mark the corresponding areas on it, and then all this data will be processed. Then this will be written to database, and this data will be transmitted to the neural network for training. And after training, a configuration file will be created, and this configuration file contains data about weights, about connections between neurons, and this file is used in main program to predict the results. Okay. Well, now we need to decide on the implementation of the program. Since there will be two programs as a result, program for creating training data and the main prediction program. Let's start with the implementing the data generation program. We need as many users as possible for a large amount of data. The more data there is, the better prediction program will work. We also need the highest speed. That's the program simply needs to transmit user data without any calculations, and the time spent on using the program should be minimal. So the first option is a desktop app. That's not the best option, as you need to install the program and it takes some time. The same with a mobile application. By the way, it will not bring the maximum amount of users, as few people want to install the program. Well, the best option is the web. It's without unnecessary installations, the time spent on use is minimal. In addition, it allows you to integrate with the browser as a plugin or with various sites in the form of advertising. That means that users, by visiting different websites, are be able to use our application on this website, and with this approach it will give us more data. So, and the main program will be in form of website, so we can just go in and out without any installations and uninstallations. So this will result in the maximum number of users and therefore the maximum amount of data. As for the code, we will use HTML, CSS and JS to implement the client part, PHP for the server part. That will give us speed, as the data will not be processed on the user's computer and everything will be processed on the server, and all the data will be stored in a file, in the JSON file. Then the data goes to training this file, and it's all. Many programs have already been made to conveniently draw the design, and in the future it will be possible to integrate the program as a plugin into other applications such as Scratch and Photoshop, for even greater user convenience. This is opportunity to view information about design in real time. That's like that give us little attention, did in another way, oh, that's better. So that's my project called Detecting Items with the Biggest Visual Weight by Danylyk Vitaliy.